Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Yusra Afraini. Today I will explain the journal about the strategies for developing the reading skill through effective reading practice. First, introduction. This paper, various definitions about reading, different reading skill and strategies are mentioned because most reading texts demand one or number or different reading skill, such as skimming for guess, scanning for specific information, reading for reference, and reading for detail, and so on. Okay. Therefore, the ultimate goal in this paper to improve student ability to transfer strategies for one reading text to another by using their awareness of the reading process. The next is literature review. According Frepsi described that reading is a mental etc. It has been described as thinking under the stimulus of the written or printed page. The reader reads for pleasure and information. In the other words, successful reading involves a large number of factors: lexical, grammatical, sentence, connection, paragraph organization, and many others.
You can see in this table tell about reading is not a single skill, but a process comprising a complex set of interrelated skills. This involves, first, word recognition and mastery of basic vocabulary, and such technical or specialist vocabulary as may from time to time be required. And second, the ability to see in the material the structure of the sentence, paragraph, and longer passage that constitute the thought units. And the third, the intelligence to follow the thought development, thus present and make any relevant education, inference of critical assessment, and fourth, the ability to concentrate on the reading task.
And in the literature review have a correlation between reason for reading and style of reading. Different reading texts require different reading style according to different reason and situation, and reading involves an interaction between thought and language. There are several reasons for reading. There will vary depending on requirement of a reader. Reason for reading define which strategy to be used. And next, the role of readers. Reading means understanding the text which is full of meaning. To get the essence of the text effectively, the reader has to make sense of the text for himself because no one can catch reading ability from anyone. To achieve the communication process and follow the writer ideas, both the reader and writer should have the same background, background knowledge as well as the language background, and the reader should not be a passive reader.
From the table, you can see the advantages of being an active reader.
Next, the responsibility of the teacher. Like the teacher, they have a number of responsibilities toward conducting a successful, effective reading in class. The principal function is to make the student concentrate on the text and give them a clear purpose for reading.
Generally, the responsibilities of the teacher are as follows. First, finding out what the student can do and what they cannot, and working out a program aimed at giving them the skill they need. Second, choosing a suitable text to work on. And the third, choosing or devising tasks and activities to develop the required skill. Fourth, preparing the class to undertake the test. And the next, making sure that everyone in the class works productively and extracting maximum effort and best result by encouraging the student. and by promoting and probing until they produce the answer, instead of telling them what it is. And the last, making sure that everyone in the class improves steadily according to his own capabilities. In summary, to promote independent or self-learning, the teacher should provide the student with a wide range of activities focusing either on the content of the text. For example, debate, role play, reading of contrasting text, or on its language. These activities can make the student develop and get competence and confidence, which involve preparation and practice in the supportive environment of the classroom. The type of reading, sometimes called reading strategy, will be determined predominantly by the purpose of reading. Some important categories are skimming and scanning. In skimming, words in text may be ignored or skipped, and this leads to improving reading speed. And the purpose of skimming is simply to see what a text is about. And scanning or quickly researching for some particular piece or pieces of information in the text. According to Nuttall, scanning means glancing repeatedly through a text either to search for a specific piece of information or to get an initial impression of whether the text is suitable for a given purpose. The purpose of scanning is to extract specific information without reading through the whole text. And the next, word text scale. One of the problems for an FL reader is that his vocabulary is not good enough for the reading he has to do. So, he should know how to tackle the word and how to use word text scale. The developed in reading Nation and Cody suggests a 5-step sequence to deal with a text for learners to follow with reasonable comparison. They are: first, finding the part of speech of the unknown word, and second, looking at the immediate context of the unknown word and simplifying this context if necessary. And the third, looking at the wider context of the unknown word, which means looking at the relationship between the clause containing an unknown word and surrounding clause and the sentence. And next, guessing the meaning of the unknown word. And the last, checking that the guess is correct. Dealing with the new lexical item and word text scale are equally relevant to FL students. It is important for students to approach new words positively and use specific techniques to deal with them. And the next, text scale. Text scale means the process of interpreting the text as a whole using all the clues available, including cohesion and rhetorical structure. It is assumed that each feature of a text requires a particular interpretive scale. Next, identifying main idea and supporting details. Although some students understand all the sentences in the reading material, some don't understand what it is saying as a whole because they don't know how the material is organized. To enable them to understand a text clearly, the students should have the ability to identify main idea and supporting details. So, the students have to find ideas or talk the put fact together. Reading for ideas means looking for the author conclusion. And then summarizing. In summarizing, the student combine the main ideas and the major details of a reading passage in a new, shorter statement. When doing a summary, the student must think about what is important and how to phrase each idea briefly. To make a good summary, the student have to think carefully about what is really important in the passage and what is not. Underlying or listing main ideas and major information will help the student to decide what to include in the summary. And next, interpreting discourse markers. Interpreting discourse markers signal the relationship between different parts of the discourse and often indicate the functional value of the sentence in which they occur. And the last, interpreting nonverbal feature of discourse. This kind of nonverbal communication can be found especially in semantic text. This reading as understanding discourse involves not only interpreting the verbal text, but also interpreting nonverbal devices that are incorporated into the discourse and related to the actual verbal text to form a cohesive and coherent unit of discourse.
And next, the current classroom situation in teaching reading. The aim of our national education system is to equip the student with the knowledge and skill they need to meet and success in 20th century and to sustain the expand our education system. To transform this education system, teachers should try to change traditional teaching style, teacher like the teacher center approach into student center, one that can create interaction between student and teacher. In reality, not every teacher is willing to change their traditional teaching style into the modern teaching. They cannot make a big change in their teaching because of many factors such as need appropriate teaching material to enhance their teaching with students, limit the teaching like a computer, a projector, and etc. And a small classroom, no language, and in the school don't have lab for the listening skill um, and time to concentrate. And in the data analysis, questionnaires are provided to know information about the student, language teacher, and subject teacher. Through questionnaire, the actual need lack and one of the student can be found out.
The result of questionnaire, the needs of students who are facing difficulties in reading skill, and the needs of students who want to know not only strategies how to read a reading passage, but also the meaning of this passage, how to guess and understand, etc. So, the teacher should explain these reading strategies clearly and patiently and let them know how to tackle different reading passages by the use of different reading strategies, and this can help the student reading skill develop.
And next, finding and set classroom activities toward a better teaching and learning environment. In finding of the study reveal the most students accept the reading skill is the most important requirement for them studying their subject and they to read a lot text and reference books, e-books, and so on. However, they feel however, They feel uncomfortable with the English language from the textbooks because of textual difficulty, unfamiliar vocabulary, linguistic difficulty, and so on. And set classroom activity toward a better teaching and learning environment. Teacher need to prepare themselves for this classroom to promote their teaching skill with IT device. The student can become interested in reading a passage and develop the reading skill in their academic studies and needs. Using effective reading using effective reading techniques and providing the student with active reading uh, activities like games, debate, listen, and read activities, etc. can be can be a great help to both English language teacher and student in the class. And the last conclusion. The aim of this research report is to highlight the importance of developing the reading skill for the student. More for the reading skill is not only for academic studies or need, but also for communication, communication skill. That is why students should have knowledge of the reading skill. That's all for me. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.